my reaction videos to date have been reacting to people from other countries who have been talking about Australia. And I will say up front, while I find Isaac Butterfield to be amusing, I find his language a bit too crass for me to do any reactions to his channel on my channel. But anyway, going back to talking about people who I've done reactions to. The reason I mentioned Isaac Butterfield is because to date I've not done any reactions to any Australians talking about Australia. And for the most of that part, that's because it seems that a majority of Australians who are on YouTube are either comedians, in which case it's hard to break into their rhythm and interrupt their rhythm, and it's not something that's easy to react to. Either that, or they are people who are quite intelligent and put forward some pretty damn good arguments that are a bit difficult to debate because they are well thought out and well put forward. And then there's this guy. I've never come across this guy, and I hope I don't come across him again, because to me, listening to him, he sounded like a complete utter moron. So this is some Australian guy who's saying 3 reasons why he believes that America is better than Australia. Now, before people comment that perhaps he has some intellectual disability and that's the problem, or going down that track of some sort of intellectual disability, I'm just going to point out I am very much an advocate for the rights of people with disabilities. However, having an intellectual disability does not excuse someone from being a complete utter tosser.
Ways America is better than Australia, part 1. Alright, first up, the fact that they don't give you a license the same beer you're allowed to drink is absolutely awesome. Less accidents, less young people being stupid, it's great.
Okay, I'll admit, looking at this guy's face triggers me. I don't know what it is about him, but I just cannot stand looking at his face. So when I make my comments, I'm going to switch to my own screen rather than look at his face, because, like I said, something about him just really, really triggers me. Okay, let's address this. So he's trying to say that because in America you can get your driver's license at 16, but you can't drink till you're 21, that means there is far less accidents. If you are a regular follower of my channel, you will know that this is complete and utter bullcrap. So in America, the number of fatalities from, I believe it was 2023, the number of fatalities, road fatalities in America for 2023 came to roughly 12 in 100,000. In Australia, it came to a bit over 4 in 100,000. So in terms of road fatalities, America is miles ahead of Australia. And let's be real, having a drinking age of 21 does not stop kids from going out and drinking. There's a lot of cases in the USA where you hear instances of kids who have been out drinking underage and have driven afterwards and consequently lost their lives. So this guy is totally clueless. He's making some gross assumption that, well, if you can't drink until you're 21, then wow, there must be like 5 years when you can be able to just drive and be a safe driver. And we know that's not the case. We know that the number of road deaths in the US is exponentially greater than what occurs here in Australia.
Next up, mandatory votes suck, right? Because you have people like me who don't understand politics, so I'm just voting for some random thing so I don't get fined $250.
Okay, let's be real. We probably don't need people like him voting anyway. So he can go along and he can do his little donkey vote on his bit of paper that he gets at the voting booth. But let's be real. A decent democracy is one where you have voting from representations of the entire community. And that's what mandatory voting does partly achieve. Yeah, you will always have donkey votes, but you will still have far more votes happening than you will in a country where voting is not compulsory. The other thing is, it's much harder to rig the system and have fake votes if everybody has to vote, because you have to check in. They've got to put that line next to your name to say that you have received the paperwork so you can vote. And it will come back in your face if you go to several polling booths and vote. Not that you'd want to, but it does make for better checks and balances. And at the end of the day, it's a pretty dumb excuse to say, oh, this country is better because they don't make it mandatory for you to vote, which means that idiots like me don't have to vote. It's not the strongest argument.
And finally, the fact that they're not allowed to be president if you're not born in America. I think that's awesome. You might think that I'm a bit racist, but think about it. We wouldn't have to put up with these people.
Now, I've gone out of my way to avoid making my channel political, so I'm not going to comment on either of the individuals that I identified there in terms of my own opinions. But let's get real. If you are a citizen of Australia, then why shouldn't you be allowed to run for Parliament? We've got some complete utter tossers in Parliament who were born in Australia. So what makes them any better than the other tossers who weren't born in Australia? It's a really piss poor argument. And to be honest, I would much rather live in a country where someone who has been convicted of a crime cannot become a president, or in our case, cannot become a prime minister. There are adequate checks and balances, in my opinion, which at least allow for some decency. Well, you know what I mean. Well, you know, a form of decency of leadership within Australia. Okay, we've had some pretty shocking prime ministers in the last 50 years or so. But they've all been residents of Australia. Doesn't matter where they were born, and it shouldn't matter where they were born. And let's be real, in a country where apparently 1/3 of the population was not born here, then that suddenly limits the pool of individuals who could become politicians. And I, for one, I think there are some pretty damn good imports into our country who could do a damn sight better than some of our homegrown politicians. So this is one of those kind of short and sweet videos. He only made 3 points, thankfully, because I don't think I could have actually handled covering more than that on this guy. Something about him just triggers me in the worst way possible. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And leave your thoughts below. What do you think about this guy? What do you think about his comments?